Hi everyone. So today is about this MAC Studio Radiance Face and Body, what's it called? Radiant Sheer Foundation, and this is in a new shade C0. In the past, Face and Body only went to C1 or N1, etc. So this is new. It's paler than their previous offerings. In the past, I have used the white mixer with, I think I have C1. But I never liked the formula. Really did not enjoy working with it. I just didn't like it. The fragrance was really strong, etc. So this is very similar. There's a slight difference in ingredients, but it is really, really similar. However, I do find that the fragrance on this is less, which is really nice. I did talk quite a bit while I was putting this on, so I'm just gonna say let's go ahead and look at that now, and then I'll come back. Ugh, swatches are the bane of my YouTube existence. I don't like doing them, but I totally understand why they're useful. I do think it darkens as it dries, because it seems pretty, you know, pale-ish at first. Rub it around, rub it around. It's hard to swatch because you have to kind of do that, the same sort of business. See, I feel like it's darkening as it's sitting here, to get it to kind of grip, because it's that grippiness stage where I feel like you see some of that coverage. That is the difference. I'll show you before it reaches that kind of grippy stage. So when it's still kind of like watery, it doesn't have the same kind of coverage as it does once it's reached that like sticky stage. And so you can just see it like kind of catching on the little hairs on my hand and then like not really doing anything. But yeah, you can see the color definitely is different. Okay, so that's good to see actually. So I'm glad I did this. It's not my imagination that it's getting a lot warmer as it dries. So the Lancome Tint Needle Ultra in 95. So this is a little bit a little darker than some of the other things that I feel like are good matches for me, but the undertone is so just perfect, and I'd rather go a little darker than too light. So that's what that looks like when it's first on. Something that's on the like lighter end of things that I feel are a good match: Conceal and Define Makeup Revolution F0.2, which is still pale but has more yellow undertones than a lot of other things in similar lightness. I'm just gonna put a little bit more of that Lancome down. So they look similar when they are wet, but as the Lancome dries, it does get darker. So here is the MAC C0 Lancome Tint Needle Ultra in 95W, and this is Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define in F0.2. So this is kind of like a lighter good match for me, kind of a little bit darker, but still good match for me. And this is a darker and sheer, obviously. I'm gonna show real quick what it looks like fresh out of the bottle so we can compare. So there it is, just kind of like out of the bottle fresh. And when it gets kind of grippy, there, that's a good color. This color, not as great of a color. Kind of disappointing. MAC, what is your deal? They have one foundation for pale people. Dustin Hunter, I believe, is where I saw this method of putting it on your palms and like rubbing your palms together and then stamping it on. You probably know how this works. I got too much on my hands. With this style of product, you have to rub it together until it like grips. So you can do that on your face, or you can do it on your hands, and then it's like the coverage kind of comes out once it gets to that grippy stage. So I really dislike the fragrance of Face and Body, and I do feel like this one is less noticeable. It's not as strong. So I feel like I actually got a good amount on that first wallop, despite, you know, dripping product down. But you know, it's not super pale, is it? So what I'm looking for in any sort of like coverage product or face product, base product, is to take down the redness and just kind of even things out to be similar to the rest of my body, like my neck and my hands and my arms and everything. Everything is paler than my face. So I think that's probably it. I'm gonna check in a mirror up close because I can't really see. So it's hard for me to tell if it's like a little bit darker than what I need, or it's just that it's so sheer that like the color of my face is coming through more. But I feel like my face does look darker than the rest of me. So I didn't have to use all that much, and it didn't take that long. And I feel like that method really is really good for slapping it on quickly, getting it to that grippy state without having to like rub it on your face, which I find to be an unpleasant situation. And if you have more than one layer of skincare underneath, sometimes all that rubbing can kind of mess with your like if you're wearing sunscreen, you don't really want to be rubbing things on it a lot. You'd like to just kind of like place it on, you know, like with a sponge or your hands or whatever, kind of press it in. And if you have any like dry flakes, rubbing can really kind of like lift up the flakes a little and get product all intermingled, and it's not good. I did exfoliate my face really well today before doing this. So the most like pronounced line I have right now has just like recently appeared is this one in my forehead, and I forget to kind of blot the product out of it. And probably owing to the fact that there's just not a lot of coverage, it's not really settled much in there. One thing I found I have to be careful with is making sure it's really getting into, like I have a kind of like a pitted scar right there and just more visible pores here, and sometimes it will kind of be sitting on top and not getting down into those kind of like depressed areas of my face. And so this is the other line that things really tend to settle into, and it looks, you know, fine. All right, so I'm just gonna add a little bit more to that spot, and I am just gonna use my finger, kind of rub it around and then pat it on. Do y'all remember that video Lisa Eldridge did with a very famous makeup artist who I can't remember the name? I feel like Mary Green something. Or she just like really aggressively applied face and body to this young lady's face. Oh, now I don't have a MAC like sheer setting powder. What I used when I wore this recently was the Next to Nothing powder, because this has like a satin finish. And it's a little dark for me in general, but since this base is also a little darker than the rest of me, just a smidge, I think it's fine. Because it's like, yeah, I enjoy the really shiny finish of face and body. Oh, this is the MAC brush too. I am on it. But I cannot deal with the stickiness and the itchiness that comes from the stickiness. It's definitely darker than what I would normally wear, though it's well within the I can wear it range. And with it being sheer, obviously that's going to make it easier to wear as well. It's not ultra sheer, you know. I would say I got, once it was powdered down, I'm looking at like light coverage. It's not just like sheer coverage. It's totally enough coverage for me, for sure. And throughout the day it does get shiny looking, and it will get back to that kind of itchy state if I have a bunch of oil kind of coming through whatever stuff on my face. And if I blot it, it will transfer some color, but it will look okay after blotting. It won't look all dry and crusty underneath, so at least there's that. You know, I would say I would consider that wears off fairly gracefully, because it is kind of moist and whatnot, I do find that I need to do less moisturization of my skin beforehand. So I wear a little bit more of a matte sunscreen. And what I'm wearing today is this Paula's Choice Ultra Sheer Daily Defense SPF 30. So this is supposed to be for oily combination skin. I put on moisturizer underneath my eyes, and I also used like the Ordinary glycolic toner. Oh, the light went out finally. Dang. At least I'm wearing a white shirt today, not black. So I was hoping this would be lighter. It looked lighter. It's usable for me, but if you are lighter than me, paler than me, it's gonna be pretty dark. And especially if you have that kind of just like milky white complexion, where, you know, I have a lot of freckles and whatnot that can kind of run interference almost. And I feel like it's easier for me to get away with it. Plus I like kind of pretty light coverage. So it's not a huge deal because my face already is a good bit darker anyway. And even if you're my skin tone, you may not want to deal with something that really is going to go kind of peachy orangey, which is really a shame. I don't know if the other 0 shades in the line are any better, but I would assume not. I would assume they're all going to do the same thing and oxidize a little bit. And this is the same problem I have with my MAC Studio Fix Fluid in NC10, is that when you first put it on, it looks okay, but it gets darker right away as it dries down, which is normal. And then, you know, but the amount it dries down darker is a good amount. It's like a shade down, and then throughout the day it gets darker too. So it's even if like, okay, you set it and it looks okay, it's a little dark, but it's okay. But then by the end of the day, for me at least with my face, it goes pretty orange. So it's so frustrating because, you know, for so long MAC was like the goalpost of having the most base colors out there compared to so many lines, and everybody else is bringing out paler shades, but MAC's like, there do not exist other people that are this pale. And they have that one weirdo foundation, the the Pro Longwear Nourishing Waterproof in NW13. This one is weirdly so much more pale than anything else they have, like by a significant amount. I have done a video review on this foundation. It is nice. I like it. But why? Why is this one the one pale foundation they have? NW13. Such a weird situation over there at MAC. Please just get your stuff together, MAC. Come on. Make some pale products for the pale people. We definitely do exist. I don't know why you're in denial about it. And if people want to use stuff that's lighter than their face, let them. People are gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it most likely. Come on, man. You know, it's like, it's really weird. Why are you so resistant? Why, MAC? I did do all of this other makeup in a different video, which I don't know which one's gonna be uploaded first. But if it's already there, I will link it. And I've got basically all MAC, almost all MAC on my face, except for a few items, and this is the blue-brown pigment, which I'm guessing you probably could guess knowing that it was all MAC. Yeah, so I hope you're having a great day, and good luck with your foundation searches, and I'll see you soon.